and then of course we had to go for your wife. And so she applied for the temporary residency based on the marriage on you.
That was something else when we went into the opština and we handed in our marriage certificate, translated in Serbian, everything. We had everything, right? So we handed in one opština and then we were told to wait about 7 days. So we waited, right? By then her 90 days were starting to swindle down. So we had to be worried about that too, because you can't stay past 90 days before you apply for residence, temporary residence. So we waited for that. 2-3 weeks passed by, nothing. Then we were told to go to Starigrad here in Belgrade. Once again, same thing. We didn't get anything from them. A little bit weird because you're sending it from one opština to the next and it's basically a 10-minute car ride. Well, I could take about 15 days, this and that. I'm just like, really? I'm like, whatever. So then I come back. Once again, her time is starting to tick down from the 90 days. By then, she only had about 10 days left. About 10 days left in Serbia before she'd have to leave. Or illegally here, right? Then she couldn't apply. So we had to go. We're like, you know what? Let's just go to Montenegro. Once again, we had contacts with you and your team. And they were in contact with the option and they're still saying, wait, we're still waiting. This was going on, what, a month almost, right?
That's right.
And then we just stayed in Montenegro. We came back for one day because I had to go pick up my lična karta.
That's right.
Got back on the plane that same day, went back to Montenegro for another 2 weeks. So it was back and forth, waiting for that, and it was about 3 days left on her 90.
Meet Stefan, born in Canada, lived in South America, and then met his wife, who then decided together they would move to Serbia. He talks about how life was in Canada, how living in South America was, and the difference between the two countries and Serbia. He talks about living in Serbia, the pros and cons, and the challenges he's faced. Enjoy.
We know each other for a long time already. But for those that don't know you, where are you born? Where have you lived? And where are you sitting right now?
Well, I was born in Canada, Serbian parents. I grew up most of my life there. And I have also lived, I left Canada around 2013, around 2012, 2013. I moved to Latin America. I lived in Venezuela for about 7 years. My job, obviously, I did security. And then I moved to Mexico. I've been living there for about almost 6 years in Mexico now. And now we're in Serbia. So about a year and about 3 months now in Serbia. And Belgrade right now.
Belgrade
as we speak.
Yeah, for sure. And I know when we bought a place in the village, which we'll touch on in a second, but you know, you like you just said, you're Canadian born, but Serbian by origin. And growing up, how connected were you to Serbia?
Very connected. My family from Serbia would always visit when I was little. We'd come here a lot in the summertime for 2-3 months, stay with my grandparents, and just visit family, and just 3 months out of the year, always in Serbia. If we couldn't make it every year, every other year we'd come.
Like every other Serbian, you know, they leave Serbia, but they come back to Serbia to visit, which is...
I never wanted to go home.
And now that you're back here, did you ever actually think that you'd live in Serbia?
No, I actually didn't. I always thought I'd just live in Latin America. Since I left Canada, I always thought I'd just live in Latin America, retire there and just live there the rest of my life. Visit Serbia, obviously for my family and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But just retire in Latin America, just live there. I just got used to it and just never thought about going anywhere else.
Of course, you learn the Spanish language and everything like that.
Spanish fluently, and just, you know, they don't speak much English in most places, right? So if you can't communicate if you don't know Spanish, so I just got accustomed to everything. I even speak Spanish here.
Of course, well, of course, and that's because your wife is Mexican too, and so
the wife's Mexican, and then just, you know, like we just speak Spanish at home usually, and you know, Serbia with the family and outside, but sometimes you mix it up because you're so used to speaking one language for years, and it's just you mix it up with English or Spanish or Serbian, and it's just like, you know, sometimes I come into a Serbian place, a cafe like we are sitting here, and I start speaking Spanish, like, I know, I'm not here.
Especially when they're playing the Spanish music.
Yeah, you feel like you're in, Latin America.
For sure. Do you speak English, Serbian, and English? Do you speak any other languages?
I do. I speak a little bit Italian. I'm learning Chinese for clients.
Okay, wonderful.
The cybersecurity work, so I gotta expand, right?
Yeah.
So the Chinese clients are great, and I'm learning a little bit. I'm taking a little bit of classes. A little bit harder than Spanish, but
yeah,
I'm starting to pick it up a little bit. More practice and.
For sure. And so you were living in Mexico before this. What was the life like there? And then what started the conversation about leaving and moving to Serbia?
Well, Mexico. I love Mexico. Mexico in general, Latin America, I love it. I just love the energy, the culture, and everybody's so energized. You're walking down the street, and it's just they have a different vibe, than most places, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I loved it. And the reason Serbia came into it was because my parents.
Mm-hmm.
They were older. They're in their 80s, late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And, we wanted to get them here to enjoy what's left of their beautiful life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're Serbia, of course. We have their stuff, family alive. So we wanted to bring them back, and for them to be happier, enjoy, and get out of Canada.
Because they were living in Canada?
Yes, they were living, yeah. And then, they're just like, get us out. After COVID hit.
Yes.
And then I didn't see them for a year. Obviously, you couldn't get into Canada, right?
Yeah.
And I was in Latin America, so the border shut down, right? So, we were just back and forth and video camera and stuff like that. And then, my dad was just like, Sine, pošalji avion. So he was just like, we're ready. It's time.
Yeah.
So then it's just like, back and forth. And then they came to Mexico. They left Canada for and they came to Mexico, stayed with us for about 6-7 months. They loved it. Mm-hmm. They fell in love with Mexico too, and then culture similar to Serbian. So,
yeah.
And they fell in love. And then, they're like, we'll go to Serbia, and they were like, okay, let's, go to Serbia. And then me and my wife talked about it. And then let's just stay in Serbia till they're alive, right? Still alive, enjoy the life, right? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, why not, And then we came here about a year and 3 months ago, last May.
Because I remember you reaching out before you were leaving Mexico.
Yes, we had a few video conferences with you, trying to get ideas and stuff like that. And it's a little bit of help on the residency and stuff like that.
So Serbia wasn't always the plan, right? It was.
It wasn't always the plan, but then we said, okay, let's try it out, right? Because of my parents, right?
Yeah, of course.
They were there for me when I was a kid, so I want to help them out as much as I can to enjoy their life while they're still alive on this earth, right? And we all decided in Mexico, let's go try it out, And we came here, and here we are, right?
Of course. And so now that your wife is here too, like your wife, has she visited Serbia before she came
We
here?
came every year for the last 4 years.
Okay.
She's been here for like tourists kind of thing, right? Visit family. We go around Serbia. We go to Montenegro. We go everywhere on the Balkans, a little bit of Europe, Italy, right? And that was for about 3 months. We'd come for 3 months, 90 days, what's on her passport, right?
Yes.
And we loved it, right? We're like, oh, wow, Serbia's beautiful, like, we come here. It's like, she loved it. I wanted to get her into the culture, and she fell in love too, right? Like, beautiful here. The people are nice, it's quiet.
How did she how did that conversation go when you brought it up to her about actually moving here and living here?
She had second thoughts. The language barrier is the first thing, right? The language barrier, a little bit different culture-wise, right? But she eventually said, you know what, let's go try it out. If we don't like it, we can always come back to Mexico, right? We always got our life here. So so we went, and she's happy too, right?
What was her biggest concern when arriving, and how have those played out in reality?
Biggest concern was language barrier, first thing, right?
Yeah.
But she grew up because a lot of people here, they know a little bit of Spanish, a little bit, right? From the Serbia. Yeah. Back in the days, they had the Spanish-Mexican Serbia. And she's having no problems now, right?
So she's learning the language as well.
A little bit. She knows a little bit, right? Not full, like a little bit of time. It's harder, right?
Of course.
Chirilica, it's just soft. Oh. The Latinese is a little bit easier for her, but
Yeah, well, anyone that comes here and introduced to the Cyrillic is going to have a challenge.
Yeah, she had a little bit of problem with that, but otherwise she's doing okay. She can communicate a little bit. She listens, like she understands, but it's just hard for her to speak out a little bit sometimes. But she a little bit, you know how to say, malo po malo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for couples watching, where one partner is the one with the connection, such as yourself, and the other is along for the ride, what advice would you give them?
I say come and try it out. Come and try it out. You know, Serbia is a beautiful country, you know, as well as I do.
Yes.
And try it out. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, right? I'd advise people to come, stay here, do your research.
Yeah.
If you fall in love, you stay. If not, you go back, right? Like, it's not for everybody. You know, there's different things that some people don't like and some people like. It's like everywhere you go, right?
True enough.
And just do your research, stay, enjoy the culture, beautiful culture. And that way you will find out if you're for Serbia or not for Serbia, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's just like for anyone, you know, even those that are living in their current country now, they're looking to leave because they don't like it, right? So you come experience the country. If you don't, then you pick up another one.
And you go on, right? You continue.
Yeah.
But I'd advise just do your research, come, see how you like it. Don't just, I'm going to Serbia tomorrow, and then you get here and be like, this is not for me, right? So come, enjoy, hang out with the locals. First thing, hang out with the locals, right? That's what I found when I'm going to Latin America is I never really associate myself with foreigners there, right? I wanted to enjoy the local culture. So I'd always go where the locals go, right? That's why I advise anybody, come to Serbia, stay, if you can't, a few months, stay a few weeks, you know? And not just in Belgrade. Serbia has more to offer than Belgrade, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Go to different towns and see how you like it. And then that way you'll find out, right? Go to the south, go to the north, go everywhere, right? So...
Yeah, and the Balkans is a lot different than just your Western Europe.
Yes, of course.
Which a lot of people just associate Balkans with Europe. But
no. Western Europe and the Balkans is totally different. It's not a different video we can do.
Because you're well traveled in those countries too, so you would know firsthand.
Yes, totally different.
And so we met because you reached out to me because you wanted to get your citizenship here by origin, of course. And before you started that process, what did you actually know about it and how it looked?
I did some research. I figured I could get citizenship by descent because my parents, obviously, right? And I had enough, you know, all the paperwork ready, kind of, right? Just the guidance, how to do it, where to do it, you know, because the bureaucracy here, as well as you know, and we both know the bureaucracy, you know, it's a little bit misleading sometimes. So you need help. So when you get here, you need to contact the right people, as we did, obviously, and the process is much easier that way.
And how long did it take, and what was the harder or easier than you expected in that whole process?
I think we applied, what's it, end of May, I think so?
That's right.
We went together, I think.
Yes.
And in middle of July, I got the call, and I got my citizenship that said, come in, pick up go apply for your lista carta and everything else. And so by the end of July, I had everything done.
Yeah,
that was about 2 months.
Yeah, and then of course we had to go for your wife, which was another gong show.
That could be another video itself too.
And so she applied for the temporary residency based on the marriage on you. And how did that compare? Because you know the Mexicans, they have the 2 first names and the 2 last names.
That was a little bit funny, as I say, because here they're not used to 4 names, right? And I understand, but you know, there's a little bit more tourists, or I could say more residents here that are Spanish too, right? So you got to be kind of open, you know. But that was something else when we went into the opština, calling it, right?
Yeah.
And we handed in our marriage certificate, translated in Serbian, everything. We had everything, right? So we handed in one opština, and then we were told to wait about 7 days. So we waited, right? By then, her 90 days were starting to swindle down. So we had to be, you know, worried about that too, because you can't stay past 90 days before you apply for residency, temporary residence.
Yes.
So we waited for that. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for that. 2-3 weeks passed by. Nothing. Then we were told to go to Starigrad here in Belgrade. And then once again, same thing. We didn't get anything from them. A little bit weird because you're sending it from one option to the next, and it's basically a 10-minute car ride. Posta, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I could take about 15 days, this and that. I'm just like, really? I'm like, whatever. So they're like, come back. Once again, and then once again, her time is starting to tick down from the 90 day. By then, she only had about 10 days left. About 10 days left in Serbia before she'd have to leave.
That's
or
right.
illegally here, right? Then she couldn't apply. So we had to go. We're like, you know what? Let's just go to Montenegro. Good decision. We had a blast.
Yeah.
Montenegro's beautiful.
Yeah, we're going actually this year to Montenegro.
Yeah, you gotta go. We had a great time in Montenegro. Once again, great people in Montenegro, the beautiful culture, beautiful beaches. We had a blast. So we stayed there for about 2 weeks. Once again, we had contacts with you and your team.
Yeah.
And they were in contact with the option, and they're still saying, wait. We're still waiting. This was going on, a month almost, right?
That's right.
And then we just stayed in Montenegro. We came back for 1 day because I had to go pick up my lična karta.
That's right.
Got back on the plane that same day. Went back to Montenegro for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was back and forth waiting for that. And it was about 3 days left on her 90. We finally got the okay, it's done.
Yes.
Starigrad, we went to the option, picked up our marriage certificate, translated in Serbian and put in Serbian, right?
Yeah. Registered here.
Registered here, right?
Yeah.
So then we applied with you and your team, and she got it. We applied, I think it was in September. I don't remember. So middle of September, we came back. It was actually the first day when we got off the airport, we went and applied.
Yes.
And then it came back. She got it around, I think, the end of October. So about a month, something like that. A month and 3 days, about that.
That's about the average, especially doing something straightforward like that, where it's through marriage and all the
Through marriage, yeah.
Exactly.
That was pretty okay, right? Pretty fast. Yeah, we went to pick up her, they called her, we pick up her lična karta. They kind of, with the name, once again, with the name thing, they didn't put her correct name, so we had to wait another 3 weeks for other lična karta. So it was a little bit big, but once again, she was happy, I was happy, you know. You know, it's a little bit of patience, you have to do it, but once again, it could be a little bit, the paperwork, the bureaucracy with the paperwork could be a little bit more updated, you know?
Yeah. And so if someone that's watching and they have Serbian heritage, but they've never visited, what would you tell them about whether it's worth pursuing the citizenship?
I would go for it.
Just to have that extra plan B.
Just to have that extra plan B, you know, like I said, you might fall in love with it, you stay, right? And then it's always nice to have that extra plan B with you in your pocket. Right?
Yeah, don't have to go through the temporary residency process, so you're just welcome to coming back.
It's much easier to do it here in Serbia than to do it in a consulate or embassy outside of Serbia, which could take you a year, at least 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
For sure.
Depending the embassy.
And then after all of that, you weren't done yet because you're one of those go-getters, and so you ended up buying 3 properties here in Serbia, a village house and apartments, from what I remember. And what was the thinking behind each one of those?
We lived here in Zemun, which is beautiful. I love Zemun. We were living here when we got off the plane. We got an apartment here in Zemun.
Yeah.
So my wife could get the residency, and I could get the citizenship by descent. You know, we have to register yourself.
Yeah.
We were looking at other cities, but Zemun was closer. We lived in Zemun for about 7-8 months there. And then my wife, since in Mexico, we're not used to living in apartments that much, right? Unless you live in Mexico City, where it's more congested.
Yes, of course.
And it's more houses than apartments, right? And so my wife was just like, I can't live in an apartment. This is too much, small, everything, right? And I was used to it because I've been everywhere, and an apartment doesn't matter to me, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, I can't live in an apartment. Let's go somewhere outside, you know? So she was a little bit more quieter, right? And then we found something outside of about 1 hour away. No, about an hour, 50 minutes. And we bought that slice of property. Once again, I'd like to say that foreigners could not buy that property because a part of that property was registered agricultural.
That's right.
So that property had to go on me, which was another thing that we'll probably get into later about paperwork that has to be done with
Definitely.
that. If your wife's a foreigner, you're Serbian, you know. And then we bought the apartment thinking not really that much rental, thinking I wanted to buy something for my parents. It was a little bit smaller, which they're still fully able to do everything, my parents, right? Without any help.
Yes, of course.
So they're like, this is not for us. I'm like, oh, obviously. And then we we're thinking about renting it, but the rentals here in Serbia is just not like in Mexico. You know, I own property in Mexico also. And, you know, over Mexico, you can rent an apartment for $1,200 US a month.
Yes.
To Canadians or Americans or Europeans or whoever, right? Even Mexican or Latin Americans. And it's just not that market here, right? So we're looking and it's like, you know, like around, the rental would be around 200 euros a month. And it's just me and my wife just looked at each other. It's like 200 euros is not worth the headaches and stuff, right? So, yeah.
The juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, exactly right. That's a perfect saying. And the juice is not worth the squeeze. So I was just saying to anybody that looking for investments, yes, Serbia got a good as an investment. But once again, if you're going to buy something, do your homework first. A lot of foreigners buy in Serbia, which is great, you know. It's like, but the rental side of things, you're not going to get that. If you're going to buy an apartment, let's say Belgrade and on water, and most of those run up anywhere between 250, 300, 400, 500,000 euros for something small, right? And if you're looking to rent that out, you're not going to get 1,500 euros a month for that. The maximum you might get is 100 or something. So you really got to do your research before you buy, and you know, like.
So for people that you are used to buying property in North America or Mexico, what was different about buying the property here in Serbia, and what caught you off guard, especially because your wife doesn't speak the Serbian language, agricultural property coming into play?
Yes. Once again, the bureaucracy and the paperwork. I think it varies from city to city, like opština to opština, or cities, because maybe some let it slide, some don't. I don't really know, but be prepared to, you know, you need a lot of lawyers, a lot of translators, and lots of paperwork. Yeah. And it's okay. Like, you gotta be patient, like, but once again, it's just a bureaucracy on some of it, right? So you do your research, do your homework, do your research before you buy, or, you know, ask around. Once again, Andre recommend you. You've helped us a lot, right?
Yeah.
You and your team are great. And so, yeah, do your research. Come, explore, look at the listings, talk to a few people, right? So,
of course, and not all the listings are what's active either. And not
same
what
with
they
the
say.
agencies here. Like, I'd have to say some of them are not professional at all. What I've seen, right? Some are very professional. The majority aren't. And they don't really know how to talk to foreigners that are coming here that are looking to buy, right? But, you know, like, some are. So you really got to do your homework, do your research, ask around, you know.
Yeah. And so we get a lot of inquiries for people that are looking to, because your house that you're staying in is in the village. Well,
yes. Well, kind of like
the town.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not Novi Sad. It's not Belgrade. It's not one of these big cities, right? And what would you tell someone who's nervous about buying property in a smaller town where they've never lived in? Because you've never lived where you actually purchased.
No, never. We wanted something quiet, right? But,
that's right.
And I would say explore, do your research again, do your homework. We love because it's quiet, right? You don't hear the noise level that you have here now.
In Belgrade, with all the traffic honking,
And it's quiet, you know, you hear animals, it's beautiful in the mornings, right? You go out, got coffee, quiet. But then again, you don't have the infrastructure, right? The infrastructure is not there. You have it there, but it's not connected.
That's right.
So, like, I'm gonna take example. We have gas in front of our property. I don't really want gas. I don't really care for it. But there's water running through it that's never been hooked up. So, you know, you ask around the locals and stuff, it's just kind of like, you know, like, you know, they're trying to tell you it's going to be years, right?
Yes.
Which I understand. It's just like, but the infrastructure is not, they're a little bit behind in the infrastructure there. And, you know, there needs to be a little bit more updated infrastructure, right? Which I understand, you know, like sometimes it's not, they say it's not in the budget, but really it should be in the budget, you know, water and electricity, hydro, it's important for everybody, right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Speaking of infrastructure, both yourself and your wife work remotely.
Yes.
And so what is the internet and infrastructure like?
Almost non-existent. Like I could say, well, they have internet, but it's like, I think it was 8 to 10 to 15 megabyte.
Yes.
I can't do that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I called a few companies, but it's just not enough, right? And they do have fiber optics there, but then once again, it's not connected,
Yeah,
right?
so we've had
And,
that discussion
and you know,
before.
you call the company and it's just like, why didn't you guys connect it? You know, like you have it there. Once again, not in the butt when they don't want to connect it. But there are children that go to school, right?
Yeah.
So the children could benefit it too, not just people that work remotely or that work online. A lot of children use the internet for research these days. So they could, you know, prioritize, you know, not 8 megabytes second internet.
Yes.
So I have to work around the other way.
Yes. Yes.
I have to get another system which works excellent for me and my wife.
Yeah.
That's perfect now. We got perfect internet, no drops, no nothing, right?
Yeah, I know. I used it in Canada when I was working.
Yeah,
on
I'm not
my
going to
own
say
too.
what it is,
Exactly.
but you know what it is.
Of course,
yeah.
we'll talk about it. And
No, we're not
anyone,
gonna talk
and
about
if
that.
anybody interested, they can talk to me directly.
Yeah, they could go.
So, and then now the cost of living also, like without giving bank statements or anything like that, how does Serbia compare to, I know you left Canada a long time ago, but Canada and Mexico in terms of what you get for your money?
It is a little bit less expensive. We could say that. There are things that are less expensive, and then there are things that are actually more expensive.
Yes,
right?
we were talking about that
Yeah,
too.
so-
Electronics.
Yeah, electronics, even some clothes and stuff like that. Food is cheaper, to say, as of right now. Well, I don't know what it's going to be like in a few years, but as of right now, you know, well, inflation everywhere around the world, right? And right now, food is cheaper. And bills, you know, electricity on some of it. Some of it isn't, some of it is, right? Depending where you're living, what zone you're living in. If you're living in major urban cities, sometimes you're paying a little bit higher, sometimes not, right? So it's all depends how you adjust your life, right?
Yes, and so now we're going to get into the juicy parts of what do you genuinely love about living here, and then we're going to get into the negative part about living here.
I love the culture. You know, I'm Serbian. I love the culture. I love the people. I love the food. You know, very safe, very quiet. Well, there's every zone you go, there's not kind of be quiet, right?
Yes.
But Serbia is a beautiful, beautiful country, right? Filled with beautiful, intelligent people, right? And it's just a different vibe. Like I said, it's a different vibe from Western Europe or Western countries, right? And here it's more and more like Christians, right?
Of
Christian
course.
Orthodox, Christians, very big in faith, which is great.
Yes.
Right? And it's just totally different, right? If you're looking for something that's, you know, more quieter, faith-wise, you know, in Christian, come to Serbia, man.
Yeah, for sure. And so now the one that we've talked for almost hours about on the phone.
We're gonna do 3 videos like that.
What has been the frustrating or difficult part about Serbia?
Bureaucracy, paperwork, workers, trade workers, big thing, trade workers. Sometimes banking system could be a little bit iffy. And infrastructure, freaking infrastructure.
Infrastructure, like out of the city or in the cities?
But in the city and out of the city, because sometimes you feel they have infrastructure in the city, sometimes it's not up to date either, right? As you can tell, sometimes the buildings and stuff aren't very updated very nicely, right? So yeah, there's a lot of good things, a lot of good points, you know, like a lot of great things that you can do here, right? But the biggest thing is there's challenges, right? There's a lot of challenges. You got to have patience. You have to have patience or Serbia is not for you. If you're someone who likes things done, you got to step back. Yeah, it's not like in other countries where you call somebody up, hey, they're there in 2 days. They could be there in 3 months.
Which we talked about, especially with the workers.
Yeah, it's just like you really gotta have some patience. Patience is the key to surviving Serbia.
And then what's the one thing that nobody warned you about moving here? You know, even though you visited, you know, now that actually living and
We
getting
came here, we didn't really think about living here, right? We'd see things, you know, we'd inquire about apartments or houses and stuff like that. And we're just like, you know what? Let's just wait a little bit, see what's going on first, right? And then it's the trade workers, right? If you want something done where I'm used to, you know, and if I have a problem where I'm building something, I'm building a house, you know, you're expected to get it done in a few months. Even if you're looking for top guys, it's just like you're gonna have to wait. And then if you're not waiting, you're gonna have to find some guys that are just like so workers, right? And some of those so workers are trying to like asking for big money, but they're not doing a big job.
especially if you're a foreigner.
Yeah. So you really gotta look around, and it's really hard because as well as you know, and you've had other clients that went through the same thing probably. Is
Definitely.
Most of the good workers have left.
Yeah.
Right? The good workers that are left, the tradesmen, are busy for months or even a year or two, right? And then you get guys that are just like, how do these guys even work? So you really got to do your homework, and that's when you come in because you know Serbia very well, right? And you know the trades business yourself as you were in trades before, right?
Of course.
And it's just something that we could probably go on and on about, me and you, and
we have.
and we have, and it's just sometimes it's tiring, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very tiring because you want to get stuff done and they just can't, right?
Yeah.
So,
and so how has it been building some sort of social life here or community here, or is it isolating? You know, because you know you're not born in in Serbia, you haven't lived here. You are Serbian, but you're not. You know, how's that?
Social life is normal. It's just easy to get by with social life. You know, family, friends, obviously, and you know, sometimes work stuff. You can't really get together all the time, but social is here. Social life is pretty big in Serbia, as well as you know, right?
Yeah,
it's what very big culture here is social life here.
Yeah.
So,
and now I know that you and your wife are expecting your first child together. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much about that. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, of course,
we're excited. Yes.
And so, with that, do you see yourselves staying here in Serbia, or as a home base, or are you planning on playing between Mexico and Serbia?
Well, we decided that we're going to go back to Mexico. God permits, everything's fine, right? And we're planning to go back to Mexico to have the baby. It's not so much because we don't like Serbia or anything. It's just because family, right? Family, or my wife's family's all there. It's hard for them. Support base, right? And we're a few months, right? A few months in Mexico, and then we do plan to come back next year, right? And then go back and forth
between the two.
Do a few months in Serbia, a few months in Mexico, back and forth, yeah.
Especially in the winter months, I'm sure.
Yes, obviously, but we're not very, you know, even me spending so many years in Latin America, I don't like the winter. I'd rather be on the beach somewhere where it's at least 40 degrees all year round. I'm just used to it.
Of course, I can understand that. And now, so you've worked with myself and my team through the citizenship process, through the residency, buying properties. What made you decide to use a service rather than figuring it out yourself? And was there a moment that you thought, I'm really glad I didn't try to do this alone?
Well, the first thing we did was look up a service.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do anything. We kind of knew about the bureaucracy before because from family, from seeing it, you know, everybody speaks about it. And, you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Quote, polako. That's always, Or pausa. That's another. And then, I was looking around and I see one of your videos pop up. Wasn't strange in Mexico, right?
Yes.
And I was like, relocation to Serbia or relocation Serbia. And I was just like, I started watching a few video of yours. I'm like, you know what? I'll give this guy a call. So we're planning to go in a few months. We already decided, right? So it's just like, how are we going to do this faster or much easier than us going around, as you know, the bureaucracy from one place to the next, right?
Yeah, yes.
So that's when
You are the system. There's no system in place.
Yeah, that was you are the system part, right? So that's when we got in touch with you and we did our video conference, and since then we've always been in touch, right? So
yeah. And so for someone who is watching this, who's in the research phase, maybe they're where you were 2 years ago in the research phase, what would you tell them, about moving here?
I would get in touch with you first. You can explain to them the rules and regulations. You could come try it yourself, but maybe some people have succeeded, but it is difficult. Coming from, if you don't know the language very well, or coming from, you don't know anything about Serbia, how system runs, how the, government offices run it here, you're going to need help. And that's when I would say I would get in touch with somebody experienced like yourself and your team, and I would do it through you. Because it would save you headaches. First of all, headaches and stress, the biggest thing. And you guys did a fantastic job with us, helping us through all our processes. So I don't have anything bad to say, but only good words, man. Only good words. You saved us so much from stress and headaches.
I appreciate the praise, and I want to wish you and your wife, who couldn't make it today, of course, because she's pregnant.
She's feeling that pregnancy right now, so it's a little bit heavy on her right now.
And wish you guys all a successful pregnancy and delivery and everything like that. And I want to thank you for joining me in this video today as well.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your help.
Absolutely. Thank you.